If you're a sucker for video game scandal and drama like me, then for sure you've been keeping up with all the huge twists and turns that Epic Games have given us these last few months. Let's talk about this situation with Epic and Fortnite. What I'd like to focus on today is the recent outrage that surrounds the most recent development update that Epic and the Fortnite team released yesterday. Before we begin though, let me just state that the recent anonymous employee testimonies from the Polygon article that was released on April 23rd did not surprise me. We're talking about a company that closed down its own studios just so that they can get more Fortnite content churned out. Rip Paragon. I didn't play you that much, but you were the baby of the developers who made you, and you at least deserved a better way to die. So, why is the community so mad at the latest development update blog post? How can something with a title so bland as Fortnite Competitive Development Update cause so much fury? They start the post by claiming that they aim to provide a fun game that's inclusive of all players and provides everyone with a real chance of winning. How ironic is it that one of the most controversial updates actually removed that real chance from the game for a majority of the player base? This has to do with the Siphon scandal, and the Fortnite team do talk about that later, so I'll address it then. But the second thing that really grinded my gears is their next paragraph, starting with Fortnite competitive play relies on a unique balancing act, maintaining a solid and balanced experience for competitive players while being essentially the same Fortnite played by hundreds of millions of players. I don't think ignoring everything your professional hardcore players are saying counts as maintaining a solid and balanced experience. Also, I don't agree with your claim that the hundreds of millions of casual players are the audience for Fortnite competition. For example, I used to play League of Legends quite a lot, but now I've found that I don't have fun playing it myself anymore, but I still enjoy watching the professional tournaments. Even now I'm watching the VODs of their previous streams and loving the competition displayed in the tournaments. And that's with a game that has more complicated gameplay mechanics that need to be understood to understand the chaos that appears on screen, much more than shooters like Fortnite. So to assume that the only people that would be watching the competitive tournaments are casual players is just plain wrong. Here we are, back to this delicious piece of tidbit, and if you want to read everything that the Fortnite team says in this development update blog post thing, I'll have the link to it in the description, but let's just paraphrase what they say. We introduced the Siphon during the pop-up cup tournaments to stop people turtling to the point where there's 50 people doing nothing in the last circle, waiting for other people to do all the work. To watch the game was boring, and we didn't want that. And look, at first everybody enjoyed it, but then we realized a problem that only us seemingly could see. Even though multiple polls showed that people loved Siphon and wanted it back, polls that hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people took, what we saw was that actually people hated it, because the elite 10% of players got all the benefits and the 90% of casual players didn't get any of the benefits. So we ignored what everyone was saying, the casuals and the pro streamers, and we took Siphon away. Deal with it. And not only that, they added to that statement that if you want the sharper experience of Siphon, we do offer an always available arena mode. Who cares that every major streamer wanted Siphon back in all the other modes? It ultimately meant up to 20-minute wait times for these streamers for a game that could quite possibly end as quickly as 2-3 minutes if the streamer had an unlucky landing and was killed straight away. Great. Also, Fortnite and Battle Royales in general have a huge problem when it comes to third party, and I'm not saying that this is a problem that's only evident in Battle Royales. It is a problem everywhere. But if anybody is fortunate enough to not know what third partying is, it's when two parties are in the middle of a fight with each other, and then a third party, someone completely unrelated to the original fight, comes in to the battle and finishes off the weakened winner of the original fight. What the 50 health per elim change that was implemented to incentivize a more chaotic and exciting early game coincidentally fixed one of Battle Royale's biggest problems, third partying. But let's take that away for a majority of the game, shall we? Yeah. The next point of controversy actually starts off with a pretty understandable statement. They state that their reasoning that players gravitate to a feature that provide a gameplay advantage even if it makes the game look and or feel worse is true, and that stretched characters and distorted views detract from Fortnite as an entertainment experience for all actually makes sense. But that being said, why bother allowing professional players, professional streamers to use stretch resolution for months and months on end? They practice and practice in preparation for a tournament, and then within a week or 2 weeks before a massive open tournament, do you suddenly remove that freedom of choice? Also, the reasoning that the Fortnite team gives about having a default FOV with no option to change it at 80 degrees is laughable, especially when a majority of games provide a default FOV of 90 degrees. And I love the fact that they try to rationalize performance as a reason why 80 is the default. Guys, performance is not a good excuse as to why there's no FOV slider. If it was an issue of performance, then players will just revert back to the default or something. We're not idiots. And look, to be honest, I didn't actually read this segment of game evolution of the update till I started writing the script for this video, and I literally snorted when I read this part. Special events bring change and freshness to the game, but also affect some of the stable elements that competitive players have trained for. Some! Lest we forget the Infinity Blade embarrassment, or the chaos when planes suddenly came along close or during a major tournament. I'm all for game evolution. Hell, I love the ever-evolving map of Fortnite. But if you're making such a big deal about Fortnite being an ever-evolving game, then actually commit to it. Don't take forever to change a part of the game that has had a massive negative reaction. Ballers. Seriously, stop ignoring your community. Yes, freshness is important, but don't be scared to admit that something is bad or ill-advised, and do something about it. The bugs segment was super short and was super irrelevant, really, to everything that's been causing a lot of the outrages. Although, the fact that they've only recently added ghost shots to their Trello is concerning, since it's a bug that's been practically present for a majority of Fortnite's lifespan, if not all of it. And also, the last segment was quite irrelevant, but the fact that the Fortnite team said, going forward we will be present in online forums is appreciated, although it's highly unlikely that it's going to make a big difference since they're in constant crunch mode at Epic Games and working 70 to 100 hours a week. These were my thoughts and opinions to the whole update fiasco. I understood where the Fortnite team was originally coming from, but the overall message that I got, and a majority of the community got, was a big fat up yours from the team and Epic Games. We hear your complaints, and we don't care, basically. And when a game company employs that attitude towards their community, the community that actually made the game as big as it is today, it's a dangerous place to be. Almost exactly like the housing industry bubble that burst a few years ago, I feel like Fortnite's success will come crashing down quite soon. As soon as right after the World Cup finals finish on July 28th. And that's concerning.